Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 11 for key game picks. Now, before I get into my thoughts on week number 10, let's take a look at the current playoff standings right now as we're getting inches away towards the end of the regular season. Currently, right now in the AFC, the Patriots hold the number 1 seed, the Bengals the 2nd seed, the Broncos the 3rd seed, the Colts the 4th seed, and looking out on the outside on the wild card spots right now are the Steelers at 5 and the Bills at 6. In the NFC, the Panthers are the number 1 seed, along with the Cardinals as the 2nd seed. The Vikings, the 3rd seed right now. The Giants still clinging on to the 4th seed. And looking on the outside with other current wild cards are the Packers at the 5th seed and the Falcons. So those are your current playoff standings now going into Week 11. As well, that will change very, very soon. Now, thoughts on Week number 10. Now we have only 2 undefeated teams left. The question remains for both these teams. The Patriots and the Packers are the only 2 teams left that haven't lost the game yet. Could both these teams go undefeated towards the end of the regular season? Too early to say right now, but eventually it's very hard to tell right now, but to me, I don't want to speculate because it's not the end of the season just yet. But as I said earlier in my videos before we got to this point, is that the team more likely to get that has the better odds to get the perfect season, no question, is the New England Patriots. Looking down the stretch, they don't really have that much competition left other than maybe just their division rivals. I would have put Denver as a possible team that can knock them out, but because no Peyton Manning now, pretty much I think it's sort of safe to say that the New England Patriots have sealed the 16-0 season. I don't think anyone has beaten them. The Giants tried beating them last week, and they were just inches that close of stopping the perfect regular season. Looking at the schedule the rest of the way, it looks like the Patriots are in the clear. By looks of it, they're going to get 16-0. And by the way the NFL's been throughout the whole season right now, who's to say they're going to finally get that perfect season championship? I know this is going to piss off a lot of 72 Dolphins players, but I hate to say it, it may come true this season. I don't know. Personally, I don't want to see it happen, but I don't think there's any other teams left in the NFL, especially within their own conference, that's got a chance of knocking them out. We'll wait and see. Other thoughts. What has happened to the Green Bay Packers? You lose 3 games already, and Minnesota now has leapfrogged them into first place in the NFC North division. That has really, really become quite interesting. This was a team that had so much confidence towards this point of the regular season, and all of a sudden they just fallen off the radar. I mean, I'm as shocked as anybody about the Packers, and this is a team that really is supposed to be the big contenders in the NFC. But it seems to me looks like the Panthers are the only team that seems to be the team to possibly beat now in the NFC. But those questions come to mind if the Packers can still make the playoffs. But really right now, their main focus I know this week is going to be the Vikings, and that is going to be one of my key games I will talk about later on in the video. Other thoughts from week 10. Well, there really wasn't much to talk about other than that great game we saw against the Patriots and Giants. And as far as other things concerns towards that week, there really wasn't a whole lot other than probably, the teams that you're expected to win. But I think maybe the other thing that comes to mind right now is the Seahawks. Wow, I didn't think this team would really, really fall under the ground now. They're now 4-5. They're 3 games back of the NFC West division. The Cardinals look like they are for real. But come playoff time, we'll wait and see. I know the Cardinals have made the Super Bowl once. But with this group of players, who's to say that they won't get back there? The NFC right now is kind of a huge jumbo mess or something, whatever you want to call it. I mean, well, I would say the same thing about the AFC, but really it's been quite a stir in both conferences, which really, it doesn't seem that much good competition lately, other than teams that we thought would be at this point right now dominating, and apparently they're not. Well, just have to wait and see towards down the stretch. All right, there really wasn't a lot to talk about in week number 10, so I'm just going to go straight into my picks here. All right, let's talk about week 11. Key game number 1, it is the Bills at the Patriots. A huge divisional rivalry that the Patriots have already beaten them once earlier in the season. Patriots are 7-point favorites. I know with no Amendola, that's really going to become a huge factor. Huge factor now. Or it was it Edelman that got hurt? It's one of those two. Really, now it stretches thin a little bit of their offense. I know the Bills are riding high after beating the Jets. Rex Ryan finally beat them. He beat his former team and rubbed it in their face, which I was not shocked by that. He was going to rub it in. But the Patriots will definitely put their money where their mouth is. There's no question about it. The Patriots are heavy favorites in this one, even without one of their key players who has a broken foot. He's going to be out for a while. Who knows if he's going to come back for the playoffs or not. I mean, you got to go with the New England Patriots here. This is a no-brainer here. Look, the Bills don't have the team or enough to pull the upset here, especially this game in New England. You have a better chance of beating them on the road than you do to beating them in their place. And I just don't see. Look, the Patriots got so many offensive weaponry, it's not even funny. The Bills don't have enough. They barely have a decent running game. Their passing game isn't really that good. Their defense is not that good, as Rex Ryan thought he was going to build there. So yeah, there's no question about it. 7 points is pretty much, I agree with the odds makers. No question, you got to go with the Patriots here. Patriots over the Bills. Key game number 2, the Redskins at the Panthers. The Redskins, they seem to be getting on a roll, even though it's been kind of a roller coaster with them the last 3-4 games. Now, last week's win against the Saints, it wasn't much of a shocker. I mean, on my writing blog, it was a game I originally picked the Saints to beat them, but apparently that bad defense on that team proved my point that game could have gone either. I should have picked the Redskins in that one because I knew their defense wasn't that good. But going into this game right now here, look, Washington's going to need a lot of support in their whole entire team, offense and defense wise, to beat this. I have to say, this Panther team really is good. They're really good this season. They're still unbeaten. They are 7-point favorites, and I do agree with the odds makers on that one. But it could be maybe a little bit lower, the way the Redskins have been playing. Especially Kirk Cousins, he's done a fantastic job at quarterback. I mean, that game was huge last week as he was playing for his father. You can read the stories online or NFL.com and all that. If you haven't heard that his dad has been diagnosed with cancer, so you can pretty much read it on NFL.com or any other source and all that. I don't want to mention things like this on my videos here because that's personal, and I give a lot of respect to his family on that one. So make sure you look that up. But he's going to need but Cousins is going to need to perform even better against a very good Panthers defense. Tough one to pick. It's kind of a little bit of tough here, but I got to go with the Panthers here. I think the Panthers will stay unbeaten. I don't see them losing here in this game. They're doing a fantastic job. Cam Newton really has been on a roll. He's starting to look like the quarterback he should be. The reason why they drafted him. And it should come down to their offense, and also basically right now the Panthers. I know their defense is still a bit of a question because remember 2 previous games before the last one is where they almost gave up the lead. Now it might be a little bit of a blemish for them, but if their defense can play very well, I mean last week, Carolina was playing the Titans, so there should have been no reason why they should have lost to them, but no question. But no question for this game, no question. You got to go with the Panthers here. I see them beating Washington, but no question, I see this game actually being close. I'm projecting a very close game in this one here, but I think the Panthers will pull it out by probably a touchdown. Panthers over the Redskins. Key game number 3, the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. A huge game right here to determine who will get first place. Minnesota had leapfrogged Green Bay after Green Bay suffered a shocking loss to the Lions last week. And a lot of questions are wondering about their offense now. I know their defense is still good, but a lot of questions come to mind is that if their defense is that good, how come they didn't beat the Lions here? Both sides of the ball, the Packers, there is a lot of issues going on. It's really tough to say what those problems are on both an offense and defense. Now I know Lacey did not play last week against the Lions because I think of course the Packers got a little bit cocky last week. Easy to say, oh, we'll beat the Lions for sure and all that. And look what happened. They got too cocky and they ended up losing to the Lions. No word yet if Lacey will play in this game. I know he's having some. I know he was hurt. I think about 2 weeks ago. I think he's having some issues there. No word if he'll get the start at running back this Sunday, but they really could use Lacey right now because Minnesota, they're basically playing like a great football team right now. I mean, Bridgewater is playing fantastic. Peterson is back to form. Their defense is starting to improve game by game, and it's good. This is going to be a hard game to pick here. The odds makers at the moment, it's rare for me to say that it's even, but yes, the odds makers at the moment, I'm pretty sure that's going to change. Minnesota will probably be favored in this one, but currently right now the lines are even for this game, and I sort of agree with that. I think the lines for this game are even, but it might tilt towards the Vikings in this one if the Packers don't figure out their woes and their troubles right now. So, no question this game is evenly matched. It's a tough one to pick here. But I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I think this game they'll fix these issues and they know this is a huge game. Now, when they won their Super Bowl back in 2010, they had a stretch where they lost consecutive games, but yet they rallied and they eventually ended up winning their remaining games and finding a way to get to the Super Bowl. There's no question you cannot sleep on the Green Bay Packers yet. I don't think they're done. They're not done. I know with no Lacey, and I think if Jordy Nelson hadn't tore something, for sure Green Bay would be a much more dominant team. But no, look, if Lacey comes back in this game, no question I pick the Packers even more. But I'll stick with Green Bay in this one. I think to me, I mean, Aaron Rodgers got some, and that offense, they have a lot to prove against this upstart Viking team. This team is on a tear right now, and they need to be ready for that. Their defense better be ready for Peterson, but I think Green Bay will be able to hold him. I think they'll hold him at bay. I think Green Bay will win this game here. It'll be close. No question this game's going to be close, but I see the Packers pulling it out probably by a field goal. So this might be one of my upsets this week, so wait and see. I mean, until the line odds change. Right now, I will keep it at even until then, so you can check back at the end of the week to see what are the lines now for that game. Packers over the Vikings. And key game number 4, the Bengals at the Cardinals. It's a huge interconference game right here. Both teams are in first place in their respective divisions. The Cincinnati Bengals received their first loss last week against the Texans. Might be a little bit of blemish there, but I think for this game they're definitely going to be ready. Arizona, a huge win last week over Seattle, and they are sort of for real. So wait and see what happens here with this team. The odds makers have the Cardinals a 4-point favorite. It will probably much lower than that, probably towards the end of the week, maybe 3 or 2, probably, but this is another game that's a tough one to beat. Both teams are good, and really in terms of standings in their conference, to see how much is basically a lot of it's basically for standings in the AFC and NFC and standings in terms of the 1 to the 6 seed. Tough one to pick here. Whew. It really does bring to mind here for this one here, because both offenses are good. Defensive wise, they're right there. Their defenses are pretty even. Ooh. It could go either way in this game here. Tough to say because the way Dalton and Palmer are playing, really, it's gonna be really, really a good game on. It's definitely gonna be a good game Sunday night. I'm really looking forward to this one here. Uh, Tough pick here. I'm gonna go with the Arizona Cardinals. This game's gonna go either way, but I think because this one is very tough. Both teams are playing well, but I think I'll stick with the home team here. Tough, like I'm telling you, it's really a tough one to pick here because both teams are that good. But Cincinnati will definitely keep pace with the Cardinals. I expect a very close game here, and it would not surprise me if this game goes into overtime because both teams are playing at a very high level, and their record shows it. But I'll stick with the home team here. I think the Cardinals will beat the Bengals here. They'll probably give them their second loss here. But it would not surprise me if the Bengals go into Arizona and beat them. Like I said, this one's a tough one to pick here. It could go either way. Huge toss up here. But I'll go with the Cardinals here. Cardinals over the Bengals. That wraps up my picks for week number 11 on this video. For the rest of all of my week 11 videos, so please go to thesportblog.blogspot.com to see what all my picks are for week number 11. Until then, I will see you all next week when I talk about my picks for week number 12. It's the Thanksgiving edition. Until then, enjoy your football weekend. I'll see you all next week.